Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My disco ball is, wow, the sun is right on it, sorry about that. Let me move it, hold on. Welcome back to my channel. Today this case will mention some of these trigger warnings. Please, if you are sensitive to these topics, feel free to skip. There will be another video soon, and I will catch you then and there. Feel free to give this video a big thumbs up, or if you're feeling extra generous, feel free to subscribe. Today's case is truly heartbreaking. Today's case is Vitalija Baliutaviciene's murder. I'm really sorry if I've not pronounced that correctly. I have about 50 tabs open of the documentary, of different things. There is so many different pronunciations. I have stuck with this one. But yeah, I'm really sorry if I have not pronounced it correctly. However, I will stop rambling now and I will get into today's video.
Vitalija, who was aged 29 at the time of her death, had moved from Lithuania to Peterborough only to escape the obsessed and jealous Romantis Baliutaviciene, also known as Rimas Venclovas, who was aged 47 at the time of Vitalija's death. All Vitalija wanted was to give her son a better life in England. She was an extremely hard worker who got on with absolutely anyone and was a loving and caring mom. Vitalija and Romantis had been together since she was just 17 and had a son together before marrying in 2007. They divorced in September 2010, but Romantis persuaded her to allow him to come to the UK, using their son as a bargaining chip. After Vitalija had announced that she wanted to leave Romantis, he was furious and wanted to get revenge. Romantis had torched a woodland home in Lithuania that Vitalija had inherited from a relative 2 months earlier. Vitalija was absolutely terrified of this man. She was so scared that she had to get lifts from work and back. Romantis had tried to strangle Vitalija twice, the year before she was murdered. In 2011, which was 6 months prior to the murder, he was arrested due to one of the assaults, however, made bail. He was not charged and fled to Lithuania. After divorcing Romantis, Vitalija started a relationship with a new man. When Romantis fled to Lithuania, he kept in touch with Vitalija and their son over Skype. Romantis was enraged when he found out that Vitalija was seeing Aiko Garib, a workmate from the potato factory, and that is when he wanted revenge and started to plot Vitalija's murder. He came back to the UK and violently attacked Vitalija again. Romantis would make threats to Vitalija, saying that she would be buried and that Vitalija's destiny was to be killed by him. Romantis denied ever having been violent towards Vitalija and said the bruises on her neck from the earlier attacks were love bites from her new boyfriend. An investigation into the earlier assault that happened the previous year was dropped on the advice of the Crown Prosecution Service because of difficulties understanding Vitalija, who spoke little English. Can you actually believe that? I know this might sound silly, but could they not just get a translator? You're telling me they have dropped a domestic abuse case because the victim could not speak a lot of English. This worries me so much because I wonder how many other cases have just been dropped due to the same or similar problems. Also, you may be wondering why Romantis was not arrested when he fled the country. Well, there was a breakdown in the link between the police national computer and the UK Border Agency's own database of wanted people. When he travelled back to Lithuania, he started making a plot to murder Vitalija. He applied for travel documents under the name of Rimas Venclovas, used his lover's credit card to buy supplies, and grew his hair and started sporting a mustache. He purchased a minibus and he adapted it to hide her body. In preparation for the murder, he removed the seats and tinted the windows so no one could see in. He then staged a dry run 3 weeks before he snatched Vitalija, sneaking back into the UK to stalk her and watch her movements. He also scouted potential burial sites. During one of these dry runs, Vitalija's friend actually saw Romantis and told Vitalija, but she warned Vitalija that he looked different and he had a mustache. Vitalija went straight to the police. However, the police said that nobody under Romantis' name had entered the UK. 2 days before the killing, he stopped by Vitalija's mother's home and dropped hints about his plan to murder her. Vitalija's mother recounts, he was saying she would be kidnapped and sold. He said that she was a loose woman and goes with anyone in Peterborough. During a further visit after the murder, Romantis told Vitalija's mother, "I've come to tell you that Vitalija's not around anymore." Vitalija's mother went to the police. However, instead of Romantis owning up, he accused her of cooking up a plot with Vitalija to fake the disappearance so he would be denied access to their son. Vitalija's 9-year-old son was at home that day due to the summer holidays. He was being babysat by one of the housemates. Vitalija would call her son every break and every lunch break anytime she was working. It was their routine and it happened every single time. She would never miss a phone call. On the 12th of August 2011, that phone call never happened. The son and the boyfriend patiently waited for Vitalija to come home. She never did. Vitalija was reported missing by her boyfriend and son. Vitalija would wake up earlier than her son and leave the house around 5 a.m. She would usually get a lift with a friend to her job at the potato factory, but that day the car had broken down. Vitalija had arranged to walk into the centre of Peterborough to get a lift with someone else. She never made it, and she never came to work that day. When Vitalija was walking to meet her friend, Romantis dragged her into the back of the van and murdered her within 58 minutes. The police contacted Romantis to ask a few questions on the 15th of August. However, the dial tone was international, and Romantis said he was in Lithuania. Thank goodness the police did not rule him out. I feel like it could have been a potential that some police officers may have just been like, oh, well, that lines up. His story makes sense. However, the police did more digging, and they found on August 11th, Romantis' mobile phone was linked to a port in Devon. He received the welcome to the UK text, and the data showed he arrived just before midnight. They got the records from the ferry that he would have travelled on. However, there was no traveller by the name of Romantis. They looked at the vehicles that were on the ferry. That's when they came across the Mercedes minibus that was registered to Lithuania. When the police got a hold of the CCTV, the man driving the van looked identical to Romantis. Amazingly, the Lithuanian police received intel that there was an ad for the same van. They set up a fake inquiry to see the van, and remember at this point they still thought Vitalija was just missing. They had no idea she had been murdered. So they set up this fake inquiry to try and catch Romantis and see if Vitalija was with him. The British police secured a European arrest warrant in order to arrest Romantis in Lithuania. When they arrived at the Mercedes minibus, they arrested Romantis on suspicion of murder and abduction of Vitalija. The investigation team got to work and searched the van for any clues. The van was spotless, and there was no sign of Vitalija. The only thing that was left behind in that van was a sat-nav. When they searched the sat-nav, there was all of these UK routes, and this shed a tiny glimmer of hope. Maybe Vitalija was at one of these locations. The police did an extensive search of all of the UK routes. There was a massive lead when a dog walker found a woman's body on a royal estate. However, this unfortunately was a 17-year-old Latvian girl
who was reported missing around the same time as Vitalija.
The police turned back to the sat-nav and decided to follow the European routes. Still, there was no sign of her body. It had been 6 months since Vitalija had been reported missing, and they were about to start a trial without her body. It can be extremely hard to convict somebody without a body, as 1, it can end up with a lesser charge, 2, a lot of evidence can be circumstantial. However, just before the trial was about to start, Interpol contacted the detectives to say 4 months earlier they had found a woman's body in a shallow grave in western Poland. The body was found on October 30th by a mushroom picker in a wooded area. The local police never checked DNA records as they believed it was a local sex worker. The Polish police sent over the coordinates of the crime scene because the British police wanted to double check and see if it showed up on the sat-nav. Because why on earth would Vitalija's body be in Poland? Lo and behold, on the 13th of August, Romantis stopped 50 meters within the shallow grave. They took a DNA sample from the body, and it was confirmed that it was Vitalija. Romantis did not kill her immediately, but tortured her by holding her throat so he had power over her, keeping her between life and death. When it went to trial, all of the information regarding the DV charges and how that was handled came out. However, a domestic homicide review said it was unlikely that the death could have been prevented by public services, but different actions at different times should have occurred. Vitalija's mother and brother said in a statement, "For 6 months after she disappeared, we had to live with the anguish of not knowing what had happened to her. Our life stopped that day she disappeared, and they will never be the same again." Her son clung to the glimmer of hope that she was still alive and would come back to him. After 6 long weeks and 4 hours of deliberation, Romantis was given a life sentence with minimum 20 years. And lastly, please check out the sources that I have linked in the description, whether it's for yourself or somebody else. Read up, educate yourself, or even feel free to donate, because it will save a life. Thank you so much for watching, guys. That is it for today's video. I apologize for the delay of me posting this, but I hope everybody is staying happy, safe, and healthy. Bye!